We live in a world where we're constantly told that we're not good enough and we ought to strive for perfection. But what if I was to tell you that you are already perfect as you are? Now, in relation to this, when we turn to the great scripture of the Ashtavakra Gita, Ashtavakra goes on a lot about how we are already perfect as we are. And many of the great Eastern spiritual texts explain that. And is there a reason for that? Well, I want to read to you a very important verse today on why you are fundamentally perfect as you are without any need of addition nor subtraction. You are perfect and the same in misery and happiness, hope and despair, and life and death. Therefore, in this way, enter into the state of dissolution. This is one of the many verses on the path of dissolution that Ashtavakra is imploring us to follow. And he mentions here that we are perfect and the same through the complete gamut of the pairs of opposites of existence. And so no matter where it's light and dark, right and wrong, good and bad, pain and pleasure, and so forth and so on, right? We are perfect and the same through all of that. But it's when we identify with the right and wrong, good and bad, and so forth and so on, that we are hypnotized by the illusion of measurement, Maya in Sanskrit, right? And so we're hypnotized by this illusion of measuring the reality according to our own likes, our own dislikes, and essentially our conditioning. And so Ashtavakra is basically saying we are affected by joy and sorrow, hope and fear and this and that when we believe we are something other than the Atman, right? The Atman here is the undifferentiated consciousness, which is who you truly are, which is identical with Brahman. And so when we believe in these pairs of opposites, we have bought into the illusion that we are something other than Atman itself. But we can only ever be Atman. We can be confused, no doubt about that throughout our life, right? Because we may have fell for the illusion of the jiva, the ego persona system, who we believe we are, this identity. And so this eclipses our true nature as the undifferentiated consciousness. And so then we wholeheartedly believe in these pairs of opposites because we are living through the jiva as opposed to the Atman. But once you understand that the Atman alone exists, then the pairs of opposites don't have an influence over you in the end of the day because you are perfect in the same through all of it, right? Hope and fear, right and wrong, good and bad, day and night, whatever duality you can conceive of, you are that through all of that experience. But most people do live through the jiva and are affected by it. But for all of the spiritual aspirants out there in the world, once you understand and abide as the Atman, then you go beyond the pairs of opposites. And in going beyond the pairs of opposites, you remain unaffected by them because you understand your real nature as Atman, which is Brahman. You've gone beyond all of that and they don't have an influence over you. And this is the true Ananda, the unassociated bliss, the joy that resides within our being. But we don't know about that unassociated bliss because we do identify with the pairs of opposites and we believe that life is suffering. And many people make the mistake that Buddha was really pessimistic about this and said that fundamentally life is suffering. But he was saying life is suffering according to the ego persona system. Hence, the Eightfold Noble Path, there's a way out of suffering, right, is what the Buddha stated. And obviously the teachings of Dzogchen and this and that, which are non-dual teachings, which go beyond the ego persona system and so forth and so on. We can go on and on. But unfortunately, a lot of the Buddhist teachings have been culturally appropriated, and then we cling to ideas that life is suffering to justify our own existence in which we are suffering, right? We're experiencing this suffering. So we use that to justify that. But Ashtavakra says this is all BS. You're only suffering because you live through the jiva, the identity. And so you think that the pairs of opposites really exist, but it's just this superimposition that you have within your mind that you superimpose on reality and you think that that's this and that. But when you've gone beyond that and you remain unaffected by the pairs of opposites, then you can see the true nature of reality. And in this way, you know that suffering itself is an illusion. It's a part of the duality and a part of the jiva, the ego persona system, because it is a dualistic construction. And so that's where suffering exists. And so like many other verses, Ashtavakra says, when we go beyond the pairs of opposites and we understand that we are perfect and the same within everything, we are perfect as we are, then we can enter into this state of dissolution, right? This complete dissolution, and we become Brahman itself. Shanti, shanti, shanti.